both Baylor and Utah blasted off to hot starts in week one. Um, Obviously, they were playing overmatched teams, but nevertheless, they took care of business. The 11th ranked Utes beat Southern Utah 49 to nothing. And then Baylor, pretty impressive as well, handled Tarleton State 45 to 3. So Utah, of course, is the Big 12 favorite coming out of the gate, and is naturally favored in this game, as you would expect. I thought the 14-point line was a little high. We'll get y'all's thoughts on that. But what kind of a game are you expecting on Saturday? Josh, we'll start with you, man.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a entertaining game. I think, we saw last year these two teams play, and I don't know if last year is really indicative of what we're going to see this year for either side, especially on Utah, given that they have their starting quarterback back, they have their starting tight end back, they've added a bunch of new pieces, and so I think this game has the opportunity to be a lot of fun. It can be very competitive. One of the things that Utah was a little bit weak on in their first game was a little bit of their interior runs in terms of the offensive line allowing pressure. And that could be a very good thing for Baylor to kind of key in on, and it could be a really rough day for Utah if that continues to happen. So I think for me, the battle of the trenches is kind of where this game is going to be won. Utah obviously takes a lot of pride in winning that battle. And if they can do that, I think they have a good shot to be able to come out on top. That 14 line, yeah, I mean, I know you said you get into it a little later. It was a little bit shocking to me. I saw one as high as 17. I just don't know that you're going to get a lot of that. And maybe it does happen, but I don't know that we know enough about these teams yet to really get a sense of that. So I'm excited for it. I think it'll be a really fun matchup, though.
Zach?
I agree. I mean, I think that, from what I can tell about Utah, their offensive line is kind of their not Achilles heel, but maybe not as experienced as they've been in the past years. But I think Baylor's front seven, even if it was Tarleton State, played pretty well. And so I think if they can get pressure on Cam Rising and kind of get him moving out of the pocket and having to make some of those quick decisions, I think that gives Baylor a chance, And then on top of that, reading some of what Josh has been covering about Utah, I think they're down a cornerback or their secondary is down a little bit. So I know that Baylor's new offense wants to throw it a little bit more. I know they were trying to get some big, deep plays and get some explosives. And maybe if the Utah secondary is a little bit weaker, Baylor could take advantage of some of that. But yeah, I think honestly, I think 14 points is about right. Honestly, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Baylor covered that, but at the same time, I'm also wouldn't be surprised if Utah just kind of rolls because they're really good at home. So, I think 14 is honestly about right.
I'm with Josh, though. Like, there's so much that we don't know about these two teams at this
Hmm.
point. We feel maybe a little more confident about who the Utes are, I would say, than who Baylor is. A lot of mystery, I would say, even after, seeing them play last week. Um, Zach, I think you're right. O-line looked pretty good. There was still, to me, and I don't know how much of this was O-line and how much of this was just maybe Dawson Pendergrass, but like when Pendergrass was in the game as the number two back, I thought there were too many like just 2 and 3 and 3.5 yard runs. I mean, it was like, dude, get to the next level and get some separation, I mean, that's Tarleton State. I mean, and I don't want to also, diminish Tarleton State. They're a good FCS team, but nevertheless, I don't know. I was looking for a little bit more there. Hard to you're picking nits when you're talking about 45 to 3, but at the same time, you look for things that might tell you things about who the team is, and so yeah, it was a close game last year, and Baylor was terrible last year. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for both you guys at the game on Saturday.